Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Oh, what is it? March 17th. And welcome to Dabble's Writing Sprints with your host, myself, Doug Lansborough, filling in for my pal Hank today because Abby is out on a well deserved vacation. So Hank is covering some stuff for Abby. So I'm covering some stuff for Hank. So instead of having me on Thursday this week, you have me on Tuesday, and you have the other Doug, being Hank, on Thursday this week for writing sprints. So it's me. It's me, and we are on deck for 20 or three 20-minute sprints today with 5-minute breaks in between. You'll find all of the links to the wordsprints.org sprint sessions down below me, but I'll also drop the link for the first one in the chat there. Excellent. There we go. There we go. Should be working. There is something just feels weird about the internet today. Something feels a little bit off and things are a little slow. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I'm getting a little paranoid. But let me know if everything's coming through okay. I see that we have NJ here and Bill and Keo and Ashley. And you thought you were going to get a double Doug week. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling on Thursday. We also have Academy office hours on Thursday. So it was going to be a very busy Thursday for me, but then Hank asked if we could swap, and I'm like, heck yeah, we absolutely can. And Nakan is here too. Welcome, welcome. All right, everyone, let me know what you are working on today, what you're writing. Myself, I have this scene that needs to be added to my manuscript. I finished all the revisions. I've been going through, I've been adding stuff and making some substantive changes to scenes, but I need a new scene added. And I figured, hey, I'm writing with my friends. Why don't I just crank out this entire scene, if not, part of it today in the sprints? So actually got 2 paper cuts from opening the laundry powder. You're that clumsy. You know what, though? I get that. I get that. I have cuts everywhere. Some from playing with my dog, some from opening things, some from dropping things, some from falling. Like, my body is a canvas of accidental pain, uh, which is too dramatic. I accused my 5-year-old nephews of being dramatic yesterday, and they countered with, "You're dramatic," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely spot on, kids." Uh, Bill's working on edits today, and Bernadette's here. Welcome, welcome. Ashley somehow managed to cut your elbow and forearm, not even your hand. That's hilarious. I do have a little, for those who don't who normally see Hank here on Tuesdays and don't come on Thursdays when I'm there. I drop a Dugget, a little nugget of Doug wisdom, and I don't think it's necessarily a Dugget that we'll be chatting about today, but there is something that I want to talk about maybe after our first sprint, because we only have a minute and a half before the first sprint starts. But I have something I want to chat with y'all about today. I also have a question. Actually, would you all, and I haven't even like swung this by the marketing team, so so you guys get input first. Would you be interested in an unstructured, a little bit rambly live stream going over like reverse outlining something? The book that I have right now, it had an outline that wasn't in a plot grid, and then I wrote it and I pantsed a lot of it. But now as I'm going through and revising this near 200,000 word book, I want to put it into the plot grid to get that bird's eye view that the plot grid affords. And I wondered if that would be a thing people want. Bernadette wants it, so Keo wants it as well. Okay, okay. It would be very unpolished, right? It would just be your pal Doug going through and like interacting with the chat, doing some stuff on screen, figuring it all out in a way that could take half an hour, could take 2 hours. So because it might take so long, I need to get buy-in from folks that make these decisions. So stay tuned on that. If I do it, I'll post it in the community like ahead of time so y'all can join. Um, 4 hours. You know what? It's not a workshop. All right. Okay. Okay. We got buy-in from everyone here. Excellent. So we have 15 seconds until our sprint starts. And now it's a beeping in my ear. So happy writing, everyone. In 20 minutes, we'll be back here. We'll chat about stuff. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. See you in 20. All right, everyone. That is our first sprint of the day finished. How'd that go for everyone? I got myself 747 words written when I'm feeling so good. For those who don't know the lore, I haven't written a new word since December until late last week because I've been focusing on just getting this read through done, getting some revisions done, and so I'm on top of the world writing some new words right now. Excellent. I actually got 772. NJ's still working on the website. Seems to have some technical issues going on there because I saw that you were going to share it, but I didn't see it come through. Um, Bernadette, 340 words. You're having to revise book one's inside outline as the ending is changing. That's exciting. It's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, but it is very exciting. Rain got 448 after a late start. Welcome and great job. That's awesome. And actually, so the thing I want to chat about today is Nakana got 53 and is editing. That's fantastic. Thing I want to talk about today, or just get you thinking about, is productivity. And specifically, some people use the term toxic productivity. But I was chatting with a friend last week, a friend who lives, 4 hours closer to the Arctic Circle than me. So we don't get to see each other much, especially in winter. Um, and him and I were going on about how, because we were university friends or college friends for the folks in the states, and we met and developed this friendship at a time when we were working and we were studying, but we had a lot less stuff to do, a lot more going out, having fun, doing stuff that friends can do. And of course, we long for those days, right? The days of less responsibility. But one of the things that him and I both kind of share is this sense that we should always be productive. We should always be like, no matter what you're doing, there's always something that can be done. And he's not a writer, so he didn't get this same kind of sense. But I often get that feeling when it comes to working on a book. When it comes to like, it's not just that writing is fun, but sometimes I get this feeling, this toxic feeling that why am I doing this thing when I could be productive and writing instead? And it's fine to be productive in writing. It's fine to channel the need to be productive into writing, if that floats your boat. And I really like doing sprints with you all because then I get to be productive and it's a social thing and I get to make progress on my work. And writing is very important to me, right? And so I want to make progress on it. But I just want folks to be aware that the the incessant need to be productive at all times and never take time to just be a slug or to do something, God forbid, for fun. You got to remember that that is a perfectly valid thing, and don't take this art form and this craft that we love, even if publishing and like income is a goal that you want from your writing. Don't let it become an all-consuming force of saying you shouldn't be doing these other things when you could be productive writing or cleaning or working or working out or meal prepping or mowing the lawn or like, there's the thing with, I like a good to-do list, I like crossing things off, but in this day and age, especially if you are an adult, I know we have some like teens and stuff that are working on their stories, but if you're an adult, to-do lists don't end. I don't know about you all, and maybe I'm just ranting at this point, but that's okay. I don't know about you all, but I don't think I've ever actually, since those college days, been able to say I have nothing on my to-do list. Like zero, nothing. I can make a to-do list and cross everything off, but there's other stuff that can be added to that to-do list. Right? There is always something. And so sometimes you just need to be like, screw the to-do list. Screw it. I'm just going to do fun things. I'm going to write for fun. I'm going to write with zero pressure. I'm not going to write at all, because that in itself is a form of productivity where we're measuring words, or we're measuring input or time spent on it. Like, just the productivity race is one that we can never win, and it's one that's always ongoing. So we need to be conscious about it, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, it is toxic productivity, as Kio's saying. I see that Emily is here and Hilder's here. Welcome, welcome. I hear the beeping. I'm sorry, I was rambling for too long. We'll come back and chat more about this. I'll be a little more interactive after this sprint. But sprint started. I'll talk to y'all in 19 minutes and 45 seconds. All right, everyone. That is our second sprint of the day done. How did that go? Before I start rambling, I don't think I'm going to ramble this time. Let me grab the link for the third sprint. But as always, you'll find all those links down below me in the description, and all of the sprints over at wordsprints.org linked together in the top left. Let me put that there. I see that OG came in, and Gypsy Movement is here and asked a question that we'll tackle. Isabel's here. Hello, hello. Um, and Bill said a quote from good old Kurt. And I tell you, we're here on Earth to fart around, and don't let anyone tell you any different. And I like that. I like that. It's easy. It's so easy to get caught up in like I said, that productivity race, or the idea that the point of being here is to be as productive as possible, or accomplish the most tasks as possible, or to have like the cleanest house as possible. It's not. It's not. Be here to fart. That's the moral of the story. um Isabel saying the sprint's already finished on your end. The third one should not be. And that, maybe I grabbed the wrong link, but let me just pop that into the chat again. So Gypsy Movement asked, I have a question. Has anyone done a dual POV? And what sort of format can you use for this? Like half a book for one character POV, the other character the other half, or maybe every other chapter? It really depends on what you want to do. Like there's a couple different ways that you can approach this. Um, I just finished reading The Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynn, and the way he does it is that every chapter is from a specific POV, and he titles that chapter with that character's name. When I write, and I think a lot of fantasy authors do it this way, I switch POVs, but I don't explicitly label them, and sometimes a chapter, like one scene will be from one character's POV, and the next scene within the same chapter will be from another character's POV. There's no like right or wrong way to do this. Even the half and half that you asked about there, you could do that. That's a very specific way of doing it, and your story structure changes as a result, but you could definitely do it that way. What you really need to focus on, though, are a couple things. First, each character has to have a well developed voice, and you need to know them inside and out, because the way that character is, the way that they communicate, influences the prose that you write from their perspective. Right. So I have one character who's a very stalwart, stoic warrior, and I have another character who is a sassy character. The prose that I write, even not just their dialogue, but the actual story itself, is slightly different based on which perspective I'm telling the story from. The information that they know is different based on the information that that character knows. You're limited to the scope of the character who you're telling. And in that regard, you want to make sure you are choosing the best character to tell that specific scene from. Why are you choosing this character instead of another one? What information do you get access to, or what information do you not have access to, or the reader doesn't have access to as a result of choosing this character? What emotions do you get to leverage because of this character? If a character suffers a loss, like a family member gets killed or something in a fantasy story, right? Um, you can, odds are you want to tell it from the character who is losing that other person, but it completely changes the impact, not necessarily in a bad way, but the impact of your storytelling and the words that you choose, the emotions that you have when you tell it from the perspective of someone close to them who's witnessing their reaction to this loss, who's still feeling it themselves, but they're not the primary person impacted by this event that's happened. Like there's a couple different ways that you can play with this. So ultimately, you want to know what kind of reaction you want, what you want to achieve with that scene, and what character is the best for achieving that particular result is my best advice for that. And then when you switch, as long as it's a scene break or a chapter break, you can switch as much as you want. Do not head hop within a scene, though. Once you've chosen a perspective character or POV character, stick with that one until the scene has ended or the chapter has ended, which ends a scene as well. Milk Toast is here. Welcome, welcome. Um, Yeah, and sometimes, as NJ says here, you just switch up because you need a little bit of fresh take, or like a little change up. Variety is the spice of life, right? And Bill saying Richard Osman used first person for one character and third for others, and oddly it works. It's really interesting, and there are some really unique cases you can get into POV. Um, or as Rain's saying here, I know the sprint has started. I'll put mine up in a second. But generally, I do it chapter by chapter. The person who gets the POV for the chapter is the one who's going to change the most in that chapter, which is a great way of doing it too. Bernadette saying, I'm bad at head hopping. It's easy. It is. It's tough. It's really tough. We can chat about that after for a few minutes. And David's here, and the sprint has started. So I'll talk to you all in 19 and a half minutes. everyone. That is our third and final sprint of the day. Let me know how you did, whether that be a word count or how many sprints you participated in or what you accomplished during these sprints, because it's always just such a good time. It's always a great time just hanging out with you, working on this thing that we love, that is writing our stories. So I love to see your wins. NJ saying, did the link come through? And I do not see a link, so I don't think so. But you can go ahead and post it over at w.com and people can check it out over there. Keo had to bounce out early about 10 minutes ago, but we appreciate her being around here. Ashley got 2,300 words in total. David got 315. Bernadette's arc is going well. I love to see it. I got just over 2,150 words written, and I'm feeling on top of the world. I'm feeling very good. I was chatting with a friend yesterday, actually. We were doing some writing together, and I did the math, and not counting my co-authored books, it's been 5 years since I published, and that hurts. The co-authoring situation is a little unique. The publishing was out of my hands for that one. I did most of the writing for it. So it's been 5 years since I actually went through the process of publishing a book myself, and so I am so antsy to get to the publishing stage of this story. I want to get it out there. I want people to read it, to have a good time with it, to hurt when I want them to hurt. And it's gonna be good. I think this is gonna be a great year. I know we're already like almost a quarter way through it, but we still got a lot of 2026 left to accomplish some really good things if that fits with your goals. And speaking of goals, if you're a W Academy member, I posted a little exercise today over in W Academy to help keep you motivated when you're trying to pursue those goals and things feel a little wonky woo, a little tough. Um, it's a fun one. It's a fun one, and I hope that it adds some value to you. Yeah, Angie, I don't think YouTube really likes links in the chat unless you're on our end. So yeah, go over, post that in w.com. Nakana added a winter scene, 633 words in total. That's fantastic. Hilder finally edited your way to the end of your research article. Awesome. And Emily is revising a short story. Could actually go on now. Might have a break and come to it later. Thanks for the inspiration. No, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. This is such a cool thing that I get to do and hang out with you. We get to do our writing. It's just a blast. I could ramble all day about how much I appreciate it, how much fun it is, but y'all got other stuff to do. Tomorrow is the Writers Coffee Hour over at w.com. Hank is going to be hosting that, and he'll be hosting writing sprints on Thursday. We have W Academy office hours on Thursday as well over at w.com. So make sure you swing by, ask some questions. It's always a good time. Robert's going to be joining me this time around, so it's going to be a blast. And as Bernadette says here, hit that like button. Give me that thumbs up if you wrote 5 words or more today, or if you edited and removed 5 words or more today. Hit that thumbs up. If you were within that span, if you wrote less than 5 words or removed less than 5 words, you're off the hook. I don't need a like from you. I appreciate it, but I don't need it. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for enjoying my ramblings. Thanks for being here with me. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you all later. Bye for now.